Hi, friend. Welcome to Holly's Highlights, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you to intentionally live your life full of purpose. I'm your host, Holly Kirby, motivational speaker, leadership cultivator, marketing strategist, and personal cheerleader. Let's check out today's highlight. Today, we're talking about how to make a positive impact in your community. And we have with us today special guest Shante Johnson. Shante is a local real estate agent, a motivational speaker, a budding author, and an advocate for families of fallen officers and first responders. Shortly after graduating high school, she married her childhood sweetheart, Derek Johnson. And on the morning of September 1st, 2013, Shante's life was tragically turned upside down when her husband, who was a decorated Draper City Police Sgt in Draper, Utah, was shot and killed while stopping to help assist with what appeared to be a disabled vehicle, just 10 minutes before his shift was to end. The shooter then turned the gun on his girlfriend and himself, and both the shooter and his girlfriend survived. At age 31, Shante was left to pick up the pieces of her and their son Benson's shattered lives. While caring for her son, she is now an active advocate for police officers, first responders, and their families. She sits on the board for COPS, which is Concerns of Police Officers, and is the Public Relations Director for Utah's Fraternal Order of Police. In 2015, Shante partnered with local and state lawmakers to pass a new bill that would provide health benefits for the families of fallen police officers and firefighters. Up until that point, all benefits for the surviving family members were discontinued at the time of death. She continues to push legislation to support the needs of the widows and widowers of all our first responders. Welcome, Shante. We are so thankful to have you here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Shante, I've watched you throughout these years, and you've handled yourself with such poise and a strength for your son and others around you. But you've also gone on to truly make some commendable impacts in our community and the state. One being the change of death benefits and insurance for the families of fallen police officers and firefighters. So can you tell us a little bit more about what that step looked like?
Yeah, that was an adventure. So another one of our local widows, she and I really helped push this out. So she had some pretty big insurance needs, and she and I just went up there and realized that there was this huge hole and gap in the needs for our first responders, and we went up there and went to work, and we had some really great lawmakers who partnered with us and really helped push that through. So that, I was not versed in politics or how any of that worked, and they were just very gracious and kind with us to get us through that session. But it has been a battle ever since we passed the bill. We get pushback on it every year, and every year they try to change it. So we have to go up there every year and fight for, our benefits every year, which is a bummer. But, we always get through, and they take really good care of us. And so that's really awesome.
So a lot of dedication for sure has gone into that.
Yes, and you just don't even know, like you're already dealing with, tragedy and stuff that's coming at you 100 miles an hour that you've never dealt with. And then, you get these other fun things, but it makes it worth it because, you're helping so many other families, and you're changing history, which I don't feel like I've ever really been a part of. So
yeah,
that really fills a hole in my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you've also been a part of congratulating some students each year who receive a scholarship in your husband's honor. So what does that entail? And can you describe a little bit of just that feeling of knowing your husband's legacy lives on through such a meaningful award?
Yeah, that's another really incredible organization called the 1033. And they have also been incredible to my family. And they give away scholarships to police officers' children. So they go through this very rigorous application, and then it's awarded in our husband's names. And that one always pulls on my heartstrings, because it is so personal, and we do get to keep his legacy alive. And I'm really looking forward to Benson getting older and being able to help present that award with me and be able to do that for his dad. And it's just really cool, and I think it really adds an extra layer of pride for these students who are, applying for scholarships And then to be able to get this particular one, I think it's really, really special.
Yeah. Well, and I love how you're already teaching Benson how to step out and be involved in his community, and how you just mentioned you can't wait for him to even get more involved in that one especially. I think that is such a great example for all of us to not just us get to step out and get involved, but to have our families and our children. It's never too soon. So that's amazing. What other you are involved with some other avenues that you're involved in and making such an impact in your community? Can you share some of those with us?
Sure. The other one that you mentioned that is really near and dear to my heart is COPS, and that is Concerns of Police Survivors. And this is a national organization that steps in and helps take care of families after their officers have been killed in the line of duty. And they stick around forever. So there's lots of organizations that come in and help us and aid us, right in the beginning when we don't know what's happening. But COPS sticks around. They put on yearly events so that we can come together as survivors and help each other heal and relate, because it's so different with a line of duty death.
Right.
In the aspect, one of the biggest ones is just, we're just thrust into the public eye,
Right.
and we're kind of put underneath a microscope. And that's a whole new animal, all in itself. So COPS is incredible because they just come in and they really take care of the survivors, and that being anywhere from a coworker to all different types of family members, the mothers, the fathers, the sisters, the brothers, the spouses, the children. They've got these organizations, and they're all over the country, and so we can fly in and have these fun conferences and healing things that we do together. So I'm super partial to COPS, and sit on the local Utah chapter for that. And then the other one is the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, and they're also national. And, I just I was a lobbyist for them for a minute and did that. That was really fun. And now I'm just one of their communications directors. So I just kind of get to stay connected with my police community and what's going on, and do fundraising for them as well. So it's really incredible to be a part of.
Wow, you definitely have a lot going on. You do an amazing job at balancing being a mom and a wife as you're remarried, and out working in the workforce and real estate. So for our listeners who don't feel they have the time or the resources to serve or make a difference in their community, or even how you mentioned earlier, you weren't even versed in the political arena, and yet look at the impact that you've had. For those who are just saying, who am I? Or I don't have the extra time, whatever excuse, what advice would you give to them? And how do you juggle it all?
I don't know how I juggle it. You make me sound busier than I am.
You're humble.
Thank you. I would just say find your passion. Like, before this, I'm not really sure if I was super great at all of this stuff or any of this stuff. And when you can really find something you're passionate about, this stuff will find you, and it's very easy to get involved. So, whether that's your love of animals or, just compassion for others and needs of the elderly, whatever it is, like, just find your passion, and being able to serve in your community or wherever you want to serve will find you, and it will be available for you to serve.
Nice. And I like how you've tied in with even your business that you do, the passion that you have, as you've mentioned that you help your clients find their dream real estate portfolio, and you even have a special first responders program to save them thousands of dollars during that buying and selling process. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So as if you're still listening, my passion is first responders, because they have been my tribe.
Yeah.
And so I get very emotional because I just love them so much. But, they have just never left me. They've always checked on me. They've always been there for me. And if I ever need anything, they're there for me. And so it's my way of being able to give back from Shante. And so, on every buy and every purchase, I'm able to save them thousands of dollars. And a portion of that goes into a foundation where we're even able to give back with some of that. So, it's just my way of saying thanks and taking care of them, because we all know that they need to be taken care of too. So
absolutely. Now, Shante, if you could go back and encourage or inspire or equip yourself as a child, what would you have to say to yourself?
I've really been thinking about this one. Holly helped me kind of prep for this and sent me the questions. And I was really thinking about that. But I have always lived with, this little motto or statement of, I just never want to live with regret. So everything that I kind of face, I'm always like, will I regret this or regret not doing this? And, I feel very lucky to, I give all of my teenage people in my life the advice, don't get married at 18 like I did. But, I followed my heart and that worked for me because I had the extra time with Derek. But I just, I think you just really need to follow your heart and know yourself. And, through this whole COVID thing, I've just been, will I regret not doing this or will I regret doing this? And so just trying to stay, on top of my health or, the phone calls to keep myself busy or whatever it is. If I don't want to do it, I just always kind of live with that motto of, do I want to regret this? Will I regret this? Will I regret not doing this?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. And you mentioned just staying on top of taking care of yourself, which is so important and so often we forget to do. Do you have any advice on what that can look like? Is there anything that helped you mentally, physically, spiritually, any of that has helped you?
Well, it's really easy to say. It's really easy to say, well, I need to do self-care, and it's not as easy. We don't prioritize ourselves, because we do have children and husbands and jobs and things and people and volunteer that, we prioritize over ourselves. And so, even if it's just like turning on music really inspires me and changes my mood. I think it does for many people. And so even if that's, the only 10 minutes of self-care I can do a day, it either, it can calm me down or pep me up or, whatever I need. So I just would find, I think sometimes we overthink it too. Like we have to take some candlelight bubble bath or something that takes a lot of time, which I would highly recommend if you have the time. But I just don't overthink it. It literally could just be a song that you love or, reading a chapter in a book or just something really quick and simple. But yeah, just definitely make sure you're taking care of yourself, especially these days.
Right. Well, and I love how you point out taking care of yourself and not living with regrets. Is there anything that you would suggest to our listeners as to how to intentionally live their life full of purpose?
Yeah, I probably would just go back to the passion. When you're passionate about something, nothing gets in your way.
Right.
So I would just really, journal a little bit or get a whiteboard out and just write down some things you enjoy and that really light a fire under you so that you can, you can find what makes you happy. And if, that's your kids, if your kids are what, really lights you up, volunteering at their schools or, making sure their teachers are taken care of, we don't all have to go out and change the world. We don't all have to run for president of the United States or the PTA board or, any of that. The simple things that you're doing in your lives are going to change and develop the people and inspire the people you are around. And that is important.
I like that. Where can our listeners connect with you?
So you can find me on Facebook, Shante Johnson, or Instagram, I'm Shante_S_Johnson.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Shante, thank you again for being with us today. You are an example of taking ashes and making something beautiful through your active engagement in your community. And we just thank you so much for your sacrifice and your service. So thank you again for your time here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this journey of life. I hope that today's highlight has been encouraging, inspiring, and equipping so you can go out and live your life full of purpose. I'd be honored if you'd take a moment to leave a review, or better yet, subscribe. We can also stay in touch by joining my email list at hollycurby.com. That's HOLLYCURBY.com. Until next time, make it a great day for a great day.